He didn't know it yet, but the strange contraption shaking in the desert wind was about to fool the most feared army in Europe. A rubber tank, a design everyone mocked, a weapon nobody asked for, and yet, it was the one thing Britain desperately needed. His name was Jasper Maskelyne, engineer, illusionist, a man who once made audiences gasp in London theaters. Now he stood in a military camp, whispering to a friend, "If they want tanks, I'll give them tanks, they just won't be real." He had no idea how dangerous that promise would become. German armor crushed Europe town by town. Real tanks cost money and steel. Britain had neither. All it had was fear, and a few minds bold enough to try the impossible. Maskelyne was one of them. He was called into a dim office. A colonel leaned forward and said, "Deception, that's your job now. Make the enemy see what isn't there." Maskelyne agreed. But inside, he was terrified. He'd never built a tank, and now thousands of lives depended on him. He built a wooden frame, covered it with canvas, painted it green, then proudly announced, "Behold, the future of warfare." Commanders stared in silence. "Is this a joke?" one said. "Burn it," another muttered. Maskelyne left embarrassed, but determined. He learned something grim. A major British unit in North Africa had almost no tanks left. They needed replacements, real or fake, within weeks. He didn't sleep that night. He studied German panzers. Not the armor or engines, but the outline, the shadow, the shape a reconnaissance pilot expected to see. He whispered, "Shape, that's all they look for," and an idea took hold. Rubber, inflatable, light, cheap. Maskelyne had used rubber props on stage. Maybe he could use them in war. The military hated the idea instantly. "Ridiculous," they said. "A toy." Maskelyne just smiled. "Give me 3 weeks." He gathered painters, builders, drivers, and old theater technicians. None had touched a tank in their lives, but every one of them understood illusion. Together, they tried to build a weapon made of air. The first inflatable tank rose slowly. It looked fragile, silly, almost laughable. Yet one soldier whispered, "If this works, we're magicians." But no one knew if it would work at all. A soldier walked around the decoy and frowned. "It's too clean," he said. "Tanks are filthy. This looks fake." Maskelyne froze. Their perfect creation was too perfect. They grabbed dirt, sand, grease, scratched the paint, bent the fake fenders. One soldier smeared oil on the side. "There, now it looks British." Maskelyne didn't laugh. He knew details like that could save lives. German reconnaissance was coming. They had hours to inflate an entire armored division. No one rested. Every rope and valve mattered. When the sun rose, they stood back. Hundreds of tanks filled the desert floor. Maskelyne whispered, "Let them see this." German planes approached. The team stood frozen as the aircraft flew overhead. If one shadow looked wrong, the whole illusion would collapse. The plane circled, then flew away. They waited. A transmission arrived. British armored division spotted, preparing counterattack. Maskelyne sat down in disbelief. The Germans were mobilizing to fight rubber. But the Germans grew suspicious. Reports claimed the tanks moved too quickly, too quietly, too perfectly. Maskelyne had days to fix the illusion. Tanks needed movement, inflatables didn't. He paced, thinking hard. Then it clicked. "Trucks," he said. "We move them with trucks." The team nodded. It was crazy, but it could work. A sandstorm struck. Half the decoys collapsed. Valves ripped open. Soldiers shouted for help. Maskelyne yelled, "Get them back up." Before sunrise, they worked in darkness, choking on dust. If the Germans flew over at dawn, they'd see the truth. The storm stopped, the sun rose, and every inflatable tank stood ready again. Maskelyne exhaled. "They're real enough." German armor advanced cautiously. They saw hundreds of tanks, prepared for a huge battle. But the real British tanks were miles away, repositioning safely. The fake army had saved them. Hitler redirected units, fuel, and aircraft to fight an army that didn't exist. Every hour wasted on those rubber tanks gave Britain time to rebuild. Maskelyne expanded the illusion. Fake airfields, fake depots, fake convoys, even fake ships. The desert filled with phantom armies, and German commanders attacked. All of them intercepted messages, showed panic. Some officers insisted Britain had doubled its armored strength. Others argued it wasn't possible. The truth, a handful of men with rubber and rope had fooled entire divisions. When the war ended, soldiers walked among the inflatable tanks laughing in disbelief. Some kicked them, some posed for photos, some just stared. Those ridiculous shapes had saved thousands. Maskelyne rarely claimed credit. He only said, "Illusion is just misdirection, and war is full of it." But he knew what his team had accomplished. War is confusion, commanders make snap decisions, pilots see only what they expect, and sometimes expectation is stronger than reality. Historians still debate Jasper Maskelyne. Was he a master, a myth, a showman? But one thing is certain, entire Panzer divisions prepared for battle, against tanks that weighed less than a bicycle, and that ridiculous idea turned out to be one of Britain's smartest weapons.